Yeah, we're just all like so short-tempered, and then things start clashing. It becomes very challenging.
Has having kids changed the way that you all communicate with each other?
Now we
I feel like your self-identity is something that I'm very scared of losing if I ever become a mother.
I can cry now. Then people think, oh, you're just chilling out at home. No, man, it's not.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Hop Pod, where we hop into different transitions in life. I'm Q.
I'm Nick.
I'm Joey, and today we have some familiar faces in the house with us on the couch, and they are none other than Adrian and Xin Lei.
Hi everyone.
Please introduce yourselves.
I'm Adrian, or when I wear my shades in the past, I'm Xiao Ming, the guy who likes to crack lame jokes. And yeah, I'm a father of two now with my lovely wife over here, Xin Lei.
Hi, everyone. My name is Xin Lei. I am Adrian's wife, who happen to also appear in his videos. But in actual fact, I've got a full-time job, which is not in media at all.
Okay, so the reason that we have brought Adrian and Xin Lei back today is because we are diving into a topic that Joey, Q, and I cannot really relate to. It is parenthood and the unfiltered reality of becoming parents. Okay, so Adrian, Xin Lei, maybe you can share like your parenthood journey.
It's been quite a journey. Yeah, I think we got married in 2015.
Yeah, got it right.
And
10
10
years.
years ago.
10 years, yeah.
This year is 10th
anniversary.
year.
Oh my god, congrats!
We come back again to
We celebrate your 10th anniversary
In November.
Service award.
I think the first couple of years, I mean, just like a lot of, I would say, Singaporean like couples, after you first get married, we just want to enjoy in a way, that single married life kind of thing, where we just have the 二人世界, Yeah, so we did that for a couple of years before we decided to try to, expand our family. And I think I've shared quite openly and publicly about some fertility challenge that we faced in the first couple of years before we were, blessed with Zachary. And then subsequently in the last year, we got pregnant with, Natalie, and then she came into the world on Valentine's Day.
Oh my
this
gosh, congrats!
Thank you.
But we remember that Zachary is bloop bloop.
Bloop, bloop. Then we were trying to figure out, then Natalie, is it blip blip?
Yeah. Funny, just call her Mei.
Oh.
Yeah, she's Mei Mei. We call her Mei Mei.
Bloop, bloop, Mei.
So how was Ploop Ploop's reaction when he first met Mei?
Okay, so there were, I mean, maybe this one you share lah, huh?
Why?
You share lah. Just give you some airtime. If not, I keep talking.
10 years, 10
You
years.
always just be Adrian's wife.
Like you said.
You're just existing.
Just watch that video. No, I mean, we planned it. So we strategized that we will ask him whether he was comfortable to bring her into the hospital rooms. We read up a lot. We made sure we researched enough to know all the tips and tricks about introducing a sibling to an older brother. So he was okay lah. So I think we did well there, because until now he hasn't shown much jealousy.
Too affectionate sometimes, you just like smosh the face.
Wow.
I want
Wow,
to carry
baby.
me. Then you just like,
That's so cute.
my baby girl.
What's
is
the
just
age
like,
gap?
2.5.
2.5.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, that's a really
Quite
good
a good
age.
age gap.
Yeah.
I mean, unplanned, but yeah, 2.5.
Oh, but when you factor in the 9 months pregnancy, that means that it doesn't feel very long. Like you didn't really have much of a break.
No, I mean, when it comes to parenthood, no break one lah.
True. Silly me.
If I wait until 4-5 years later, I will still be as tired.
Actually, it has only been a few months since
2 months, guys.
Yeah.
How has the recovery been?
I thought you're supposed to still be in confinement.
No, confinement is 1 month. Very clearly not in the same stage.
I only know like
Confinement is just
cannot
1
go out.
month. Yeah, correct.
Cannot wash hair.
I mean, recovery has been okay. I mean, we had a confinement nanny, so like, as best as it could be. And he took a lot of the duties with Bloop. So I focused on myself. Yeah, so that was, I mean, I'm okay. I've been cleared to exercise, so that's why I played pickleball with him last week.
You can join our pickleball session.
Hey, let's go.
Let's start by taking it back to the beginning, okay? Before you guys had 2 kids, did you guys have any concerns about parenthood?
I would say not concerns like per se. I think just whether we are, I would say, mentally ready to welcome, another person into like our family.
I think also, I mean, you go to a checklist, right? Financial, whether you've got support system, and in Singapore, you want to make sure you've got enough, big enough house and so on and so forth. So, but in our case, because we took some time, so by the time we were ready, then actually all things fell in place. So I think it was a blessing in disguise that, actually, because we we started our family slightly later, so we were a lot more stable in many different aspects that people usually expect to be stable.
Was there any fear about being a good parent?
Oh yeah, every day until today. Like right now, the fact that I'm out, am I doing the right thing for baby Natalie, right? But yeah, I mean, you always think about whether you're going to ruin this life, and you know,
Wow.
a
That's
bit
so
serious
scary.
lah, but
That's such a scary thing to think about.
I think we didn't think about how daunting it would be until the baby or Zachary came into our lives, and we realized like how impressionable kids like are even at such a young age, and you really feel like you have a big responsibility in your hand to really bring them up well as parents. Yeah, so I remember, before Zachary really came along, we went on like a baby moon, and then during the baby moon, we did like have a deep and intense talk about what kind of parents do we want to be. Right? I think from there we really then set the intention, and then subsequently, I think that helped us navigate a lot of different challenges when it comes to parenthood. Yeah, but I think nothing really hit as hard as when the baby really comes into our lives, when you have a lack of sleep, right? And you Google and there's just 1 million different reasons why the baby is crying, right? And then, maybe we're just all like so short-tempered, and then things start clashing.
Oh.
It becomes very challenging. Yeah.
speak for yourself. Parenting now, I think, is a lot more stressful because there's so much research and everybody has an opinion about how you should parent. As compared to our parents, I don't know if you think about your parents, how you're brought up, then it's just, you just do it lah. Like,
Last time it's just living off pure vibes.
Should
Be okay lah.
Vibes,
Should be
right?
okay.
there's nothing like, gentle parenting. You need to make sure you care for his feelings, or you gotta be aware of what you say, what you don't say. So I think it's quite stressful because the more you know, then the more you question yourself and you doubt yourself. And because I'm mildly obsessive with this kind of content, so I do read up a lot.
Molly is
Understatement.
How different has it been from going from like no kids to Zachary to 1 kid to 2 kids?
Wow, so different, man. No kids means you make your decisions for yourself. You want to travel, next impromptu decisions. But now with a kid, then it's obviously different, right?
We're coming for this. Yeah, it's
It's
like
a
there's
whole
lot of,
logistical arrangement, man.
arrangements that
Yeah,
we have to make.
No, I mean, so I think obviously you need to consider a lot more, not just the day-to-day operational considerations, but also then life decisions that you make. Because where you choose to stay now means, okay, then the school that he goes to,
Districts. Oh,
and all these things,
man.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every single thing, at least for me, I take into consideration. Yeah.
I mean, we don't know everything still because every kid come out is different. And I think jumping from managing 1 kid to 2 kids is also another different ball game altogether. But when it comes to managing the baby itself, I think we have become a little bit more strategic,
Seasoned.
a little bit smarter, a little bit more seasoned in that, not everything we need to do together. I mean, when we first had Zachary, just like, when she wakes up, right, for feed, I also wake up by then to like support her, give her moral support.
Nothing much,
and-
right? You just
and
sit
sit there. She very tired already, but cannot sleep, because I need to be there to show moral support. But now that we have 2 kids, she thinks that it's also important for me to rest so that I can take care of like my boy. Because if you have 2 tired parents dealing with 2 kids, I think then the whole household will just be
So it's
in
like
big
a
mess.
shift work.
Game plan now is divide and conquer.
Yeah.
He will mainly take care of Zach or Ploop because he's the one who can run. He can expend his energy. Then I'll be the one biologically who needs to take care of Natalie. So that's how we divide and conquer.
Right.
So that's our game plan right now.
Actually, why did you all decide to have a second kid?
Because I think of the fertility like challenges that I had, I think even having Zachary was already a miracle. Right? So I think to pray or ask for a second miracle was something that I would say I didn't really have too much hopes for. Yeah, so I think that is why Natalie is really like a second miracle, because it happened like naturally. I think at a state in our lives where we were settling down, we were all happy, and then came a surprise for us.
But the finances is crazy, right? I mean, like, it's scary to have
Yeah.
one more kid because the
Because you
amount.
have that finite resource, and then
Yeah.
how do you spread across? Then you have more, then obviously you have lesser for each.
Yeah. Actually, just now you all mentioned about some things that was quite daunting, like finances and time, right? But personally, I feel like identity, like your self-identity, is something that I'm very scared of losing if I ever become a mother. So what's your take on that after having 2 children?
I can cry now. No, I mean, yeah, it's true. Before I became a mom, I'm a career woman, right? I'm quite a workaholic. So I like to do things in a certain manner. I like to have my plans. I like to have my plan A to plan Z. Being a mother, it doesn't work this way. And then you realize your photo album is all about your baby. It's all about taking care of a kid. And I struggled with it for the first 4 months. He will know. So I actually had postpartum blues. Not depression, but postpartum blues, because I was just struggling with this idea of being stuck in my home. And then all I did was change diapers. Then the first 4 months is all giving, right? The baby cannot come back to you, cannot say I love you. So it's just you're giving and giving and giving, and then you're not getting anything in return. And then I would see obviously him going to work, having his social nights, but I'm stuck at home.
How do you navigate that?
I mean, for me, I think about how I want to present myself to Zach and Natalie when they grow up. So I want them to know me as a mom who didn't just dedicate her life to being a mom, but also had a life outside. This is my motivation for wanting to be more than a mother.
It's like a phase, especially for, I guess, career woman who becomes first-time mother, where, you have everything, I guess, figured out and sorted out in your life, and suddenly you are put into like this scenario, right, where you have to perform in an area where you're completely new. And I think that is something that is a very drastic change that I guess nobody really prepare you for that. And I think like what she said, eventually when the kid starts responding to you, like reciprocating and just like, smiling or laughing, I think that is where there might be a little bit more connectedness from a love perspective.
Yeah, so I really salute stay-at-home mothers, because it's no joke. It's really no joke. You lock yourself in, you fully dedicate your 101% to taking care of the family. Then people think, you're just chilling out at home. No, man, it's not.
Okay, then for you, Adrian, I think the last time you were on, you kind of briefly talked about like what it was like going back to work after Zachary. How has that kind of changed with the addition of Natalie?
I would say it is similar. It's just that I think after, I guess, 2.5 years of practice, you really know how to arrange your schedule a little bit better and smarter, a little bit like what my wife just shared. In the past, before I have a kid, I'll be more than happy to do a dinner meeting. Right, but now it's like, okay, let's keep it within like working hours. Let's try to prioritize, things that I need to do in office and things that then I can do at home after I settle my kids. Just how I manage my schedule that has become a lot more intentional.
But it sounds like you guys have a really strong foundation, at least as a couple. I think that's super important, because you're not just like a mom and a father, you are husband and wife. And you guys always look to each other. Like even here, you can see that you're offering support to one another. And this is what's going to ensure that you guys are great parents, because you are already a great unit together.
Has having kids changed the way that you all communicate with each other and support each other?
Yeah, now we... I think before Zachary came out, I think we talked about what kind of parents do we want to be. But we have never really talked about, back then, how we are going to be with each other when we have a kid. And I think in the first couple of months or first half a year, right, where we dedicate all our attention, love and energy to this little one that miraculously came into our lives, that's when we kind of maybe forgot, in terms of like how should we communicate, how should we love each other now that we have, this blessing in our lives. That took a little bit of like, for us to have an open conversation, for us to kind of realign again.
I mean, when you're just a couple and when you quarrel, then you just, right? You just verbal diarrhea sometimes, right? But in front of your kids, you won't do that. So obviously we're very more mindful of what you say, because they're so impressionable, and then you want to make sure you don't say the wrong things about them. Take for example, right? Zach has a meltdown. He doesn't want to sit on his car seat. If he scolds Zach, then sometimes I'll be like, no, don't scold him. But then you won't quarrel in front. We make it a point to not quarrel in front of Zach, because then he will find that, hey, what's happening, right? What's happening with mommy and daddy? So things like that, very little things like that you become a bit more mindful of.
What's the look when you need to give a warning sign to each other?
The camera.
Oh my god!
Scary.
Oh my god! My heart just went down my stomach.
Usually she does it to me.
It's me to him, because he dares to be,
a little bit more firm.
Yeah, a bit more firm.
You take turns being good cop, bad cop.
I mean, when it comes to aligning how we want to instill some sort of discipline, I think we are the same. I think who does it, then it depends. Usually it is me. So I feel like the good cop, bad cop concept is where there's one person who's really like the angel, who like almost like don't agree with the other parent. And I feel like then that is very unhealthy. Because it looks like the parents are like, not aligned with one another. And then your kid will naturally gravitate towards the good cop. Yeah, and then the bad cop always become the bad person in the house.
Actually, very commonly, right? It's like both parents are upset, but usually the mom will scold, right? But the moment that dad scolds, right, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Two scolding.
Yeah.
Last time my father stare, right, I cried.
Right? The eyes,
Scary.
these eyes, right? Come on.
It's when they put down the newspaper. They fold.
The one pao, the one pao.
Question pot. Hey, not bad. We should start a quintet. What did you last dream about? Oh my God. I dreamt that we were on a playbook episode and the playbook episode ended up being a prank. What they did was Ariel and like the PDs, right? They got people from our lives to like basically tell everybody what we're actually like. And then when I woke up, I was so confused. I thought I was late for shoot.
Well, that is a very,
I'm
very
confused
specific.
listening to that story.
I thought when you point to her, you're saying that she found a guy in her dream.
If you could only use one word for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Sure.
I think so.
Shag,
Check.
bro, shag.
I knew it.
What's your favorite scent?
Is it baby's head?
Yeah, but Natalie's, like, they hate the smell. Wow.
What does it smell like? I can
It's
describe
like
a bit.
flowers and powder and musk.
It's like a little bit like milky kind of smell, but a bit chao seng already. A little bit.
That must mompong
A little
already.
bit. So it's a bit like cho like.
Is it like
smell.
sweaty smell?
People sitting in front of us are just like, what?
So Natalie is your Toto lah.
What name would you give yourself if you could pick your own name? I would name myself Leia. Princess Leia.
Oh, you do look like a Leia actually. What's something you thought was cool as a kid but now you cringe at? Last time I like to ride scooter.
Then
Now it's
you think
PNG,
Like
yeah.
the e-scooter
Quite
kind or
it's
the,
cringe, no?
or the kick scooter.
The kick one.
Oh,
the
kick
I mean
one.
our
Decathlon
generation.
quite cool what?
Yeah,
Can't really,
quite
meh?
cool. Now cringe, meh?
I feel quite cringe.
Decathlon can buy quite cool.
Before you had Zachary, did you have a vision for like yourself for the kind of father or husband you wanted to be? And how has that vision evolved or changed over time?
I think the concept of like gentle parenting. Yeah, I think before like Zachary came along, I really like the idea of gentle parenting because I grew up in a very traditional Asian like kind of family. I think when I became a dad, then I kind of understand the difference between gentle parenting and actually permissive parenting. Yeah, because gentle parenting doesn't mean you just kind of allow the kid to do
Correct.
whatever they
Yeah.
want. There's still like healthy boundaries that you need to draw, that you need to hold, but you just do it in a gentle and loving way. Whereas like permissive is just really letting them
Allow.
do whatever they want. They want
Like
to
eat the
eat,
snacks
don't want to
they
eat, don't want
want.
to eat. And want to sleep, don't want to sleep, don't sleep. Yeah, I feel like that is very unhealthy. And I think before I was a dad, I didn't know the clear definition. It was only really when Zachary came along that I kind of like adjusted and understand that, okay, when it comes to gentle parenting, it's also about boundaries and how do you hold those boundaries in a loving yet like firm manner.
So for example, we scold, right? Obviously we discipline. We don't yell, but we make sure we connect back. And that's the whole idea that, you need to make sure that you don't leave your kid hanging. You don't leave your kid thinking that, it's all just, bad words from mommy and daddy.
Actually, on that note, I'm curious, right? Are you usually aligned? Okay, the car seat example aside, are you usually aligned when it's time to discipline?
That was your answer.
So I've seen this with a few like parent friends, right? Where one scolds, kid runs to the other one that's not scolding, then the other one will sayang, and then that kind of undermines the discipline also.
Like, it doesn't look like a team.
I think we're not exactly on the same page, but the pages are pretty close lah. Yeah, depending on the scenarios, but I wouldn't say we're very far apart in terms of like, when do we feel like we need to step in to discipline?
And then like if you see your partner has snapped, then do you intervene or do you?
No.
Okay.
So very clearly, if somebody has started the discipline process, either of us will not step in. Because you don't want to overrule, and then you don't want to suddenly sing a different tune. So we're very clear on that part.
So fundamentally, you might be like, this is a
Yeah,
bit petty,
correct.
yeah, but
At night lah. Then after that, then it's the AAR. The AAR before
yeah.
bedtime. It's like, actually
Yeah.
just now,
No, so take for example, Zach went through a period of not wanting to eat his vegetables and meat. He just wanted plain rice. Asian boy, just one plain rice.
Vibes.
Right? So anyway, we went through that period and then we needed to sit him down to get him to eat that. But then our threshold of when do you
Give up.
give up was quite different. I think you were a bit more stringent to make sure that he needed to do that. And even though he was crying and melting down, he would still make sure he sat down and eat. For me, I'm like, if he's telling me he doesn't want, okay, we try again tomorrow. Because the last thing I want is for him to reject food entirely, because then he'll be traumatized by this whole eating process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might develop like a fear.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what's the best practice? It's quite. I can see both sides. How, like,
If you pretend like, this is so good, you cannot eat, then they reverse psychology. Like, I want to try.
I feel like then there's the difference between like permissive and then the gentle parenting.
yeah,
But
correct.
What I read online is that actually when it comes to kids, if you have no boundaries, right, it becomes very confusing for them. Because today can, then tomorrow cannot. Then why is it every day different? Actually, if you hold that boundary, you make it very clear for them with a little bit of, I would say, reward, a little bit of like consequence, then they kind of understand the concept of what they can do, why they should do it a little bit more, and without it being a traumatizing experience. It's not like I force him to sit down and just stuff it in his mouth. It's not like that also. Yeah.
No, what he's saying is to be consistent. So if you don't allow a cookie before dinner, every time the kid asks you for a cookie before dinner, you have to say no. You don't today because he cried damn hard and then then you allow. Then the next day he'll think, oh, then I cry even harder.
yeah.
I'll get that cookie.
I realized that the smart ones, they
they
adapt
know.
very fast.
Yeah, kids
Kids
are
are so
super smart.
smart
Yeah,
now.
super smart.
So just now, Xin Lei, you mentioned about your identity at work, right? So now that you're a mother of two, how do you juggle parenthood and your full-time job?
Do you still consider yourself a career woman?
I want to say yes. Because I want Zach to know that he has a mom who didn't give up her career just to become a mother.
I'm so inspired right now.
Yeah, I mean a global firm, who's quite pro-family or pro-individualism, right? So if you wanted to take time off to do certain things or develop your own self or even for family, they will allow that. Government is 16. My company gives additional 4, so that's 5 months. On top of that, I'm going to take another 3 months unpaid. So to me, it's very important because it's a once in a lifetime or twice in a lifetime,
Or
experience.
tries, or like 4 times?
Maybe. On a day-to-day basis, I make sure 6 to 9 p.m. is a no-touch zone for me. So I won't have any meetings there unless necessary. Okay, maybe 6 is pushing it a bit hard. But maybe 7:30 onwards. No meetings until 10. If I need to get back on, then I get back on after 10. So it's about working with, your supervisor, telling your team that, hey, actually, this is a no-touch zone for me. So then you just work around that. Yeah. I think it requires your colleagues, it requires your company to be very understanding. Because if not, it's very difficult. And I think in Singapore, we're quite lucky that we have help in terms of your direct parent support and also the fact that, we are lucky enough to be able to engage a helper. So I think all of that all adds to the equation of being able to balance both.
Yeah, and I think it's also a lot of work on your part, setting the boundaries and also being flexible enough to say like, hey, okay, it's not like completely after work, I'm done. I'm not. But it's more like, this is my no zone. After that, I'm willing to work even at 10 p.m. And then you show that you are willing to be flexible, right? That really helps as well.
Actually, Adrian, how did you support Xin Lei during her second pregnancy while taking care of Zachary?
It's just chill out. No lah. I think
Comment on that.
That's the thumbnail, right?
She just made a mental note tonight, right?
Yeah, the AR.
Go back.
later.
Nah, already, you guys. I think for the second pregnancy, I think as she increasingly
More immobile.
get heavier and more immobile, and Zachary is an active kid.
Very.
Yeah, so I think that is where leading up to the third trimester, I then took over a lot of that responsibility to kind of bring him out, engage him, while giving her time to also rest. Yeah, because rest for pregnant mom is extremely
He did a great
important
job,
as
man.
well. And then for the second pregnancy is also when we decided to move house.
That's quite crazy, to do it
We
concurrently.
did it. We did it.
It did. Yeah, because to be honest, our previous place was maybe a little bit too small, right, to have Natalie.
we didn't have enough
also.
rooms.
Yeah, we don't have
Right,
enough rooms, and we didn't want them to share a room. So that's why we decided to move. So I took on the responsibility of managing the entire like renovation like process.
What that means you must do all the like house viewing and all that, buy a house and all that.
I mean, house viewing part, she was still okay, but it was the renovation.
Oh, he did it, man. He really.
And it was very stressful because, I have to make sure that the house is ready before Natalie comes.
Cannot delay, right?
Cannot, there's no way. And there is, the word out there is that, there's always delay, but I told the contractor, like, it cannot delay. Like, there's no way that
you can see my wife or not. You cannot.
8 weeks. 8 weeks renovation.
8 weeks renovation. So, I took care. I helped her take care of that, so that she can just see nice or not nice. Yeah.
But you got give your take on the style and the design lah.
I did.
Wow.
Honest lah, right? No.
So it's just creative director vibe.
I mean, what I feel like, I think especially for the second pregnancy is, I think whatever she cannot do physically, I think that is where then it is my job to make sure that I take care of all these different things, whether is it caring for Zachary, settling the house, making sure that, Natalie's room is ready when she comes along. Yeah, so there's a lot of this nitty-gritty things when it comes to setting up a family or welcoming like a second one, that I feel like, dads can actually step up.
And I think the conversation has also shifted a lot. Like in the past, if dads were proactive, it's very like, oh, so lucky, he's so good with the kids. I'm like, he's the dad. Like, this is his job. So I think now that it's become so normalized, it's made like a lot of things a lot easier on both the mom and the dads, because there are very clear like roles and what like people need to do when they are parenting their kids.
I'll say this on record. Actually, he really is a great dad. And your point about how a lot of people say, oh, the dad is shipping and then you give the dad a trophy for changing a diaper. He's beyond that. He has excelled in being a dad, so much so that I don't bat an eye that he's playing with Zach. He's reading a book to Zach because in our dynamic, he has always been, is natural for us to do that. It's logical for us, it's reasonable for him to do that. So, yeah, kudos to him.
垃圾. Just kidding.
There was one part where you said like he excelled at being a dad so much so that I thought you were going to say that he's almost a mum. What kind of family-related concerns do you typically see your employees raising?
I think it's a lot of unexpected things, like, the kids get rejected from childcare and then the parent need to bring the kid back and then...
Rejected from child or sick?
Yeah, we're sick lah. Like,
So strong mom like rejected.
Yeah. I heard they couldn't go to school today. How come last time I always must go to school?
As in, so if the child is sick, they'll be...
Like
they don't want the other kids to get sick.
I think having colleagues who understand what it's like to be a parent is also very important. If you're not a parent, you will not understand why this parent will need to leave suddenly at 4 p.m. to pick his or her kid out from school. So you need to have that support system, because if not, then you get misunderstood because people will think you're slacking off, people will think that you're misusing your title as a parent to then skive.
What are your thoughts on the role of paternity leave when it comes to that transition when you first have like a new kid? Because obviously the entitlement is different and it has changed and evolved over time also. Did you kind of feel the difference when it went from 2 weeks to 4 weeks?
No, definitely, because when you've just newly given birth postpartum, it's important for your husband to be there just to help you recover. This first month, confinement, you need that emotional support. Then second month, you're getting in a group of things and you're like, hey, how come my husband is not here? He's already gone back to work. So then actually beyond that 4 weeks, if a dad can take even more time after that, I think it's beneficial for the wife. So I think it's not just sharing of duties, but I think it's more the emotional support.
And then do you feel that kind of that extra time also kind of helped a bit with your postpartum blues also?
Yes, definitely. He had a bit more time this time around. So I felt that I had more of him with Natalie. And like I said, a lot of emotional support for me is very important to see that he's around, that he's also thinking of the family as opposed to doing all the social nights, doing his content out there. So definitely very, very, very helpful.
What about you, Adrian? Do you feel like a very big difference?
I mean, going from 2 to 4 weeks, definitely there is difference lah. There's definitely difference. I think also being able to spend a little bit more time to take care of Zachary, I think that plays like actually quite a big part. And I think the fact that it is an entitlement also makes that feel a little bit less guilty. I mean, or to be honest, even from an employer point of view, I also feel a little bit bad that I have to step away from the company, right, from the day-to-day operations to take care of my family, and because it is entitled as an entitled leave from the government, it makes me feel a little bit more at ease. Taking this leave. It's a little bit like the concept of unlimited leave. In the past, we used to give unlimited leave. But then nobody dared to take. After a while, nobody dares to take because people will feel very bad. Oh, I take 30 days and you only take 10 days. And does it make me feel like, I'm less off as an employee? Yeah, so I feel like this, initiative to increase paternity leave, it is good psychologically for that, and it's actually really, really helpful for families, for young families.
So are you going to have a third one? Because I know 1st April 2025, there's a new shared parental leave, right?
We missed it.
By a few months.
Oh, you missed by 2 months. It's by,
One
it's
and
by
a half
the,
to be
it's by
exact.
the date. Your child's birthday,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
April Fools.
Okay, so the interesting thing is that as of 1st April 2025, on top of the already increased paternity leave, which has gone up from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, the shared parental leave between a couple, you have 6 weeks to share between the both of you. And then next year, 1st April 2026, phase 2, that 6 week goes up to 10 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which you
Wow.
can.
So now you can plan.
You're feeling it, right? You're feeling
You
like,
can plan. We're giving you time to plan for the next one.
How about you guys?
Actually, the shared parental leave thing, I find it very interesting because you can cut. Like, you can kind of split it any way you want between the husband and
Yeah,
the
it
wife.
offers flexibility, right?
At first, I was like, hey, but different employer, how you track. So basically, the government will reimburse your employers, like
And then
the
they'll
number
minus
of
off
weeks
from
lah.
there lah.
Yeah, so then they will track like, oh, okay, you took 2 weeks, so your partner has like 4 weeks to claim. Then you can shift the weeks around accordingly lah. So in your example, right, where saying like because you have the flexibility at work where they give you that unpaid leave and things like that, then you can even consider like, okay, Adrian, take all the shared parental leave.
she don't want. She don't. No.
For example lah.
It's okay, I apply first. I choke first.
You're claim ready. Like CDC voucher, I claim already.
I'm sorry, accidentally. I didn't know I pressed one time, all go.
But I think it's a great initiative by the government because it basically signals that, hey, actually family caregiving time is critical, and government is supporting companies to do that, because if left to the company's devices, it's profit making lah. Yeah, they may not lah, right?
And I like the idea that it is shared, because really I think parenthood is a shared responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not just
Yeah.
mothers that's supposed to take care of the kid. Like the dad also has a responsibility in terms of caretaking of the family. Yeah, so I think shared parental leave allows that flexibility so that you can take turns or you can do it together. I think it's really up to you.
Yeah, it's true. I think it also really helps, like what Xin Lei said, that the government is endorsing and encouraging this, because it's like an official stamp that this is important. We are recognizing that. And because we have this, a lot of companies cannot shake from it.
So before we wrap up this episode, right, we've been talking a lot about like the struggles and challenges of being parents. Which milestone you think you are excited about the most?
Definitely not secondary school.
Yeah.
I think secondary school is the worst.
I'm thinking very far down there, like getting married, getting married.
Okay, yeah.
When people ask me, right, I always say like when my son wins Olympic gold medal.
Okay, relax.
Then they tell me that maybe have a think about your parental vision board a bit more first.
I'm thinking like primary 1 when you help wrap the school books.
Well, they're quite
Then-
cute lah.
Yeah, then you go and buy the school uniform. Then you see them in uniform the first time. Then you see them queue up for recess for the first time.
Aiyo, wow.
Then you watch them order food on their own.
You think you'll cry like on their first day?
Yeah,
of
you imagine
primary
he's like
one?
carrying the school bag, then he look like, bye-bye.
At the gate, then bye. Then when they run, the bag is bigger than
the bag will swing like that.
Yeah, because just this couple of weeks, like Zachary he insists on carrying his school bag himself. Right? He doesn't want us to carry for him. And just looking at him, like this tiny little boy carrying like a very, very big school bag and just walking to the car park by himself. He's a little bit more grown up now. Yeah, it's good that he's actually growing stronger, but it's like, actually, he's going to slowly become less dependent on us. So I think as parents, that's a very bittersweet like kind of moment.
I was reading like there'll be a point where your parents stop picking you up.
because they cannot.
Because they cannot. Then that's like you're never like carried ever again, you know.
I feel so sad.
So sad, right? Yeah.
There are a lot of posts on IG targeted at the mums, right? To say, oh, always give that last, always give that hug, always carry them to sleep, always do that because you never know when they'll stop asking you to hug them to sleep.
What is one advice you wish to give to new and upcoming parents who are listening out there?
Just do it, just wing it. You'll get it.
Oh, put that on a t-shirt, man.
my IG bio.
Just do it, just wing it, you'll get it. I love it.
Then my advice maybe then is like the opposite. I think we can actually be intentional about being a good parent. There's actually a lot of resources that's out there that can actually help you. It doesn't have to be such a lost like process where you're just like winging it. I think winging it works, but if you cannot wing it anymore, there's actually also a lot of resources out there that is very helpful that can help you, guide you become a better parent through the different developmental age of
That's
kids.
a better answer, guys.
No, both, both. Guys, listen, you set the boundaries, then you wing within the boundaries because it's intentional winging. Thank you so much for joining us on The Hot Pot. You can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Me Listen.
And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.
And of course, thank you, Adrian and Xin Lei, for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And if you need more information on the new SPL scheme or parenthood resources, you can check out the description box for more information.
And we will see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Personality.
I mean, she's 2 months old,
personality?
guys. She's 2 months old.
Go on.
She's quite feisty.
cry,
Yeah, actually, right. That's my indication now.
Oh my gosh.
I think she's quite feisty, which is a bit like me. I own up.
Okay, you own up first.
Help, guys. I'm blinking.